how big waterbeds used to be? Were they big in your area?
I remember my father had one, and I was like, "Why do we have this?" But I mean,
So everybody, it seemed like when I
oh,
was
you mean
growing up.
how many people? I thought you meant like how large they were.
No,
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 yeah,
like popularity.
in the
Like
late '80s, early '90s, everybody fucking had one.
everybody. And being a kid that was born in the 80s, grew up in the 90s just like you didn't really know as a kid like what really went into having a waterbed, and you had to change the water at least every year. If you wanted it cold, you put cold water, and if you needed it hot, you put the hot. Sometimes they had heaters. If it popped, then it ruins the room and stuff like that. And I got thinking, I was like, man, why did they go away? Are they still a thing? And you see a lot of people, at least in my brain and my life, from family members to their friends and stuff that had the water beds, they have terrible backs and joint. Like, was it because of the waterbed, or was it the fact that they grew up having to work on farms, sitting in terrible, like non-ergonomic chairs? If you had a desk job back then, you were sitting in a shitty, shitty chair. I don't know if it's there, but like, so I started doing some research, and they say, of course, it's the water brand companies and what I found in Google and stuff, that they're actually one of the most comfortable sleeps for you and actually really good for you because your spine isn't restricted or something because of the motion and all this. And they still make them. They have new age water beds with like this new technology and all this stuff. And I'm like, God damn, I couldn't do it. There's no way I'm rocking a water bed.
No, no way. I'm looking up one.
Unless a company, no, I'm just kidding. Unless a company hits us up and you're a waterbed company and you want us to try it. No, I'm just kidding. There's no way I would want. It's just like I wouldn't want a washer or dryer machine on, because my room is on the second floor. Could you imagine if a waterbed popped on the second floor? Not only are you ruining your floor, you're ruining the ceiling and all your braces and shit.
My brother in Christ, my dad had a waterbed. We lived in a trailer.
Oh,
We lived in a fucking trailer. My dad had a waterbed, bro. Peak poor, peak poor.
I feel like I feel like waterbeds and trailers went together in the 70s and 80s like peanut butter and jelly, though.
Here's what I want to know: how the hell do you make whoopee on a waterbed? Like, how are you getting any kind of like pushback with your knees? You know what I mean? You got to stand off the bed to get it done.
I would think so. I guess, but it could be kind of like the what are all the Mormon kids calling out? Have you heard of soaking?
Oh my God!
Where
Yes.
they just leave, they put it in there, and I guess it doesn't. It's a loophole. It doesn't really count. But then they have a third person come in and like shake the bed and jump on the bed, causing the friction to happen, but they're not thrusting, so it doesn't count. We talked a little bit about it on Triple T last week because we have Dan on there, who used to be a youth pastor and all this stuff, and it's big out in the Utah area, which he's not there, but it's an interesting thing, this whole soaking. But maybe that came from the Mormons with the waterbeds.
Oh my God! Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I could do soaking, Fram, because I would be
No.
like, do you? So you go in there fully awake, for lack of a better term.
Mm-hmm.
Do you make sure you come out when you're asleep?
Yeah, I guess so. But you just can't move. It just hangs out in there.
So
You can't
you have to
thrust.
wait till it like blops out.
Either blops out, or you go out, or I like I said, I haven't personally looked in. We talked about it a little bit. None of us were willing to Google it. But yeah, apparently that's the thing. I guess it's all over TikTok. It's all over everywhere. It's this magical loophole that these people are exploiting. I guess good for them, being creative and everything. I'm glad I'm not on that side of TikTok.
Uh-huh.
Maybe one of the 10 accounts that I have is on that side, but I just don't spend enough time. But yeah, that was a weird loophole with the water beds, and when we were finding there, apparently they're just like everything cycles. Apparently they're starting to make a comeback. Is kind of why I started to see some stuff. And when I Googled it, it led me to a YouTube short of this guy who definitely had a waterbed in the 70s and 80s, still has these new ones. Like, I wonder now, like, I'm going to start when I'm in public, I'm going to be looking at people and be like, yep, you are a waterbed guy. Oh, that guy's a waterbed guy. That person, now, not so much. But I feel like they give off a vibe, you know?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But yeah.
I remember I remember a fight my mom and dad had where my mom chased my dad down with a butcher knife, and I was just even at 5 years old, thought to myself that waterbed's gonna go bye bye, and she took them into the bedroom. Luckily, it didn't, but yeah.
I remember we were selling a house where we lived previously, and my parents had a waterbed, and it ripped or broke or something and destroyed the flooring just as we were trying to sell it. And at the time, my dad was working in a different state. So it was Ma and us young kids trying to clean it and some neighbors coming over. And I just remember that being a disaster. Now you know what I mean? Now if I was one of those YouTubers or content creators that made a ton of money and still had my day job, and I had enough money to pull a prank off, when my parents went away, they go on a trip. They're coming home to a brand new waterbed. I just imagine them recording their faces. They walk in, go to lay down, and be like, "God damn it, what is this?" I think it'd be hilarious. Maybe not though.
You couldn't see my big ass on a waterbed. You
They
ever you ever try to be on a waterbed with another person, just like laying there? The heavier person goes.
like a teeter totter. I remember, like when you're a kid and you just like get thrown onto a bed, whether it's at a hotel or something. I'll never just that feeling where you're just playing, and your, parent or somebody will just pick you up and throw you on the mattress, and then you land on a water bed, and it's just like kind of
Yep.
like if you're tubing on the water and you just hit water. It's supposed to be soft, and it
Yeah.
friggin' hurts.
I remember being a kid and I'd take naps in my dad's waterbed with him, and I always got in trouble because I moved too much. Well, fuck! If you're in a waterbed, they're gonna feel everything.
Yeah.
So
Apparently now they make waveless water beds, so it's not supposed to or whatever. I don't know. Waterbedbargains.com, the number one waterbed store.
Number one waterbed store. The only one that served the .com bubble.
The only one. Man, there's a lot of it's interesting. 6-inch water depth, super soft, variable pressure foam. So they actually have water beds with pillow tops on them.
Nice.
It's came a long ways. Look at this shit. Waterbed Doctor 700 RX plus Extremium. Let's show this. There's a lot going into this mattress. Holy shit. Look at the layers. There's more layers than a 7-layer cake. Look at all these different layers of
Where's
mattress.
the
And
water?
it's got to be in there somewhere. I don't know if it's the blue part. Maybe this little blue pad. That's the foot of the bed, in case you were wondering. Free shipping, free delivery. Waterbed Doctor 700 RX plus extra premium waterbed mattress.